I knew they'd get back together. And then when Christian went, go F yourself, I popped like hell.
Well, you brought it up during our conversation with about CM Punk, so we'll just touch on it very briefly. Edge, aka the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland, debuting at AEW Wrestle Dream. Very lauded and praised ending to the show, with him going face to face with Christian Cage, who's on the career run right now as the patriarch of AEW, trying to mentor all the kids of dead fathers. He's on the career run of his life as the TNT champion, and now he's in a new storyline with Adam Copeland. They had a very compelling segment on Dynamite this week. What do you think about Adam Copeland now coming into AEW, trying to fill the role now left by CM Punk with the company? Do you think that he can make a difference backstage for the locker room? And do you think that he can make a difference for the business of AEW that is really struggling right now as far as ticket sales for their live events and as far as the ratings are concerned?
Well, he could probably make a difference because he's new. To me, I think that AEW has too many backstage people, and I don't even know who's in charge of the agents. Tony would be in charge of the guy that was in charge of the agents, but I'm not there, so I don't know. But I guarantee you that
I believe it's Sonjay Dutt is the one in charge of the agents.
You know, Sonjay Dutt, I love that guy, but he doesn't look like one to snap that whip. Pow! People say, "Shut up, Sonjay." Now he may, but they need.
I know he's one of them. I know he's one of them. I'm not sure if he's the one in charge, but I would think
they need to give somebody the power that if somebody does get sent home, that Tony fully backs them, totally. Otherwise, they're just like pseudo bosses. They're there, but they don't really do anything. So we will see if it works. And what was your question right before this one? Or can you remember that far back?
As far as what do you think that he can help as far as basically backstage with the locker room, as far as like bringing it together and being a leadership factor there? You've seen him backstage more than I have.
Mm-hmm. Again, if they got to give him the power. They got to give him whatever he decides. Tony says, fine, whatever you want to do. Till he's respected like that, he's just a name and a position. Till he gets the power. That was it. That's the big thing about the difference in WWE with Vince before, and say with Tony now. When they took it to Vince and he ruled on it, that's it. There's no more. Because if they have a big deal and all of a sudden Vince calls them in there and says, it's going to be this way, now what do you want to do? He don't want to get rid of them, but he also wants them to do business. So when he says when it goes to Vince, if an incident is so severe that it needs Vince to rule on it, when it goes to Vince and he says one way or the other, that's it. Discussion over, and he does what he wants to do, and life continues. That's what they need. Every business has to run like that. It's like a football coach. If he tells this guy to do something and the guy don't do it, what, the general manager is going to overrule the coach? And you imagine the uproar over that? But see, we hear more about football than we hear about wrestling. So give Sonjay Dutt or Jeff Jarrett or whoever. Or
no, I was actually more of like what will be kind of the difference for basically Adam Copeland being backstage as a locker room leader, as far as like someone like, you've been in TNA, when someone like Kurt Angle came in, it sounded like from a lot of people he immediately had that role and that respect as a locker room leader. Christian Cage, similar thing when he came into TNA.
Well, that's one thing you saying. But see, a locker room leader is not appointed. A locker room leader just pops up. He's not going to rule or anything. His opinion may be listened to, but they have to respect Adam Cole. They have to respect Edge, from the get-go. I mean, he can go and help guys and do this, but I think he'll be accepted, and Christian too. The angle you're talking about, the scene with Edge and Christian in the ring when they go face to face, that's a great way to start that.
Yeah.
They didn't need punches. They didn't need a long one. When they hugged, people said, "Oh boy, I knew they'd get back together." And then when Christian went, "Go F yourself," I popped like hell, because that's the way a lot of discussions would go in real life. They got hug you, "I love you, love you, brother. Oh, we're all together now." And he says, "Nah, go F yourself." But it's been so long since I've seen something like that. I really popped.
Yeah,
because
it was just so fascinating for me to see them in the ring in 2023, and it's not WWE. It was just so surreal in that. Just when he debuted, and then that segment on Dynamite.
Well, I guarantee you, one of those two came up with that.
Yeah,
that's what they wanted to do. And if I was Tony Khan and they said that, hell, I'd pop right then. I'd go out, and if I was in the back talking to them, I said, "Screw this. I'm going to go buy a ticket right now and walk in." Just so I can be sitting there like this. So, wow, what? And the people popped to that.
Yeah.
So you have to read the temperature in the room. Now, of course, they're reading the temperature in the room because now they're judging their reaction, and now that's going to guide them the rest of the way, how long it goes. But I see this as a long-running angle, unless the people just vehemently reject it. I would stay on that path with Christian and Edge as far as it'll take you. So if you're a booker and you're watching this, you can't run it till there's nothing left, because then you kill it. But if they run it to where they got the most out of it and then get away from it, and then wait a month or 3 weeks and then come back into it. That's the old saying. Fans do not forget. So if they work, to me, if they work with that mindset in their head, I think they got nothing but money with that. Is it enough to catch WWE? No, I don't think so. No. But they can still do their own business.
Yeah. I think they just have to keep doing what they're doing, because what they're doing right now is honestly some of the best work they've done this year, because they, like you said, they're focused more on a lot of stories. You have the whole story with Edge and Christian. You have the whole story with MJF and Adam Cole. You have the whole story of timeless Tony Storm, and they have really good character work going on right now. So, I think they just have to keep doing what they're doing. They're gonna lose for a while, but if they keep producing good shows, I think that's going to be the difference between them and the WCWs and the TNAs of the world.
Okay, let's go back in the past. Years ago, when they had the territories, a territory could fall on its ass, doing nothing. That's when they had to back up, regroup, and go another direction. And that's been done time and time. And Memphis didn't always sell out. Sometimes, they would go down. Memphis is a 12,000 seat arena. Sometimes they would go down and maybe drawing 3,000 people. And which, if they weren't in such a big building, it'd still look good. But money-wise, and that's what it's based on. Money. How much money you bring through that door, or on a pay-per-view. But we didn't have pay-per-views then. But then when you had the guy like Jerry Jarrett, he was the booker a lot of times. He'd just back up and go another direction, and pretty soon, in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it'd be back up doing 8,000, 9,000 people. Some days when it would get down to 8,000 people, hell, they wanted to fire everybody. They said, "Oh God, what's happening? We're dying." But Memphis was a great wrestling town, and even though it's 40-something years ago, you can still listen to those people, and they tell you where to go. So,
yeah,
that's my opinion.
I think they just have to stay the course. I always say, like, some of the best television that I like to go back to watch was WWF in 1997, and they were getting smashed in the ratings by WCW. WCW was number one in 1997, but WWF, the reason that they were able to kind of grow their company and then hit the boom that they did in 1998 is because they had really good character work and storylines, whether it was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Hart Foundation, whether it was the whole build up to the Kane debut, the rivalry between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. They had so many things going on and guys firing at all cylinders. AEW just has to stay the course, keep producing these great pay-per-views, keep producing good television, focusing on the stories, focusing on the characters. WWE's unbelievably hot, and nothing's gonna change that unless maybe CM Punk. I don't know. We shall see. You never know with wrestling.
They are hot. The only thing that is going to stop that hot run is themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. If they bring a CM Punk, that is something that maybe, but it's only going to be WWE that stops this.
I'll have to agree with you. I have to agree with what I said and you agreed with. So I agree with both of that. So
agree with yourself.